things around here, we'll just have you come right on with me. And we're freaking live to the world. So, what's up, everybody? Once again, hey, thank you for joining us for another installment of this week's Dividend Communion. I've got my friend Craig here, or I'm sorry, SCHD Stan. How do you want to be referred to as, sir?
Craig is fine.
Craig.
Craig.
Well, Craig.
Get the laugh. Craig.
Dude, I love those old movies. And speaking of the 90s, Craig, so since you're so nice to come on here, I got a gift for all our live stream guests. It's the football phone. I don't know if you remember this thing, but all of our guests that come on, you're going to get your very own Sports Illustrated football phone, circa 1991. Mutant redial. So, hey, there you go. Thank you, live stream guest, for coming on. That'll be your parting gift and a nice little Dapper Dividends tote bag that someday may or may not get to you. No promises.
I've always wanted one of those, you know. I had a Sports Illustrated subscription already. I wanted to cancel it and get it when my dad had it. Want him to cancel it and order it again so we could get that football phone.
Dude, yeah. I remember the football phone and what else? They had one that was a shoe. And it was that. Now that I think, I'm like, oh, we're going to talk shoes right at this little opening jibber jabber here. So I should have done that. Would have made more sense. But hey, anyway, so thank all of you for swinging on by right now while you guys follow and file on in. Lisa, if you're in the house, what's going on, Lisa? Got Chris, Frank, where it's pouring. Always great to talk about the weather. We love that. Oh, and by the way, nice Empire Strikes Back shirt, man.
Well, you noticed, huh?
Heck yeah, I noticed. Oh, it's just the logo. Slick. Did you see that in the theater?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I feel old because I know this guy, Dividend dude. He's Dan. I think you're 18, Dan, right? You can type it in the chat or something, that's kind of crazy to me because in September, my oldest will be 17. How old is your oldest?
Oh, she's about to turn 13.
Yeah. So there you go. Teenage years, man.
Yeah. I started a little late. I'm old. I'm old, but I started late.
Nah, it can work out there. My grandpa, he had his first kid at 41, I think. So.
Well, okay. I was 35, 35. Yeah, 35, and my second at 39. So he's 19.
Yeah, well,
almost 19.
Yeah, well, just like with religion, right? Late conversion is better than none. So, Dividend dude, yeah, he's almost 19. Almost 19, man. Crazy. So. That's nice. We're old enough to be your dad, and that's awesome that you are starting out. That's a weird one. I guess I wish I wouldn't have said that. I just had a thought of like some kind of dystopian show where we're both Dan's dad, and I don't know.
My two dads.
Yeah. Was that a show, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Who was that? Was that 80s or 90s?
That sounds like an 80s show. I think that was 80s. I remember a lot from the 80s. It's weird.
Yeah, me too. Lisa is old too. You don't have to put your age, Lisa. I think I heard that you were 29. You're about to turn 30, Lisa. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that you're that. But yeah, hey, thanks a lot everybody for coming in. And I think I'm going to start this one off just real quick to get the ball rolling. I want to talk, it'll lead into something I want to ask you about, Craig, but I'm going to throw up on the screen. I just love saying that. I wish I had a better way to slip that in without laughing, but comedic timing I do not have. But what I do have is some stocks I bought this week and selling. Let's see, we got this. You can see this, right, Craig? I forgot to put this on my phone.
Yeah,
so to the world, here we go. This is in the weekly newsletter. Every Sunday I fire one off. But yeah, I sold 66 shares of AT&T. So I'm continuing to wind that down across two portfolios. Some of you may be confused by this. I sold 4 shares of J&J, but I have 10 shares in the Roth, and I'm down almost $20 a share. But I'm really trying to build up a Visa position in the Roth. So I sold those, and I rolled it right into Visa. So, I look at it as a lateral move. Yeah, a little bit hit on the dividend income because J&J is a lot higher than Visa, but I really want more Visa, and I have like 113 shares of J&J in our taxable account. So, and then what we bought, 3 more shares of Agree Realty, 3 shares of those Visa that I talked about at 262, 4 shares of Nike, So I'm still going in that, and 4 shares of Starbucks. Check that out. It's weird seeing that. I thought I had a typo that they're both almost the exact same price. So I was like, whoa. And then 12 more shares of Vici. We got to 200, and then a little bit of my gambling streak, Craig. I don't know if you do you do option selling. So this one you might get. I looked at the chart, a little bit of technical analysis, reading the chart, and I bought a Palantir. August 2nd, 2024. That means it expires. It's a put, meaning if Palantir keeps going down by then I will make more money. But I paid $18, and Schwab's fee is 66 cents on that. So it looked good because the day after I bought it was when that tech, we got the CPI print that was lower than expected. So all the tech stocks started falling, and that thing was up. I was up 70 something percent on it at one point. I'm like, sweet, I'm going to hold.
You bought a put. It was a buy.
I bought a put. Yeah. Did I say sell? Yeah.
No,
I bought it.
No, I just wanted to clarify because I was reading and I missed what you said. So that
Yeah.
means it's basically like shorting it, basically.
It is. So if the most I can lose is $18. That is the most I'll lose. So if it keeps going down, then the price of the option contract I sold is going to keep going up. And it's a bit of a gamble. And like I said, I don't play the lottery. I don't go to casinos. So, hey, this is like my little bit of
It's an interesting thing to do with put when you're buying puts like that. You could do that on stocks that you own and you're feeling the pain. Like for instance, if you own Starbucks or Nike, over $100, and you saw it was going down and continue to go down, you could actually buy put on that and make some money as it goes down. And then to me, my luck would be like, as soon as I buy a put, that thing's going to start going up. So win-win. You own the stock, now it's gone up. So it's not so
the only caveat I would add to that, as I see you drinking your Big Kona Wave, which was a fantastic beer I drank in Florida, by the way, when I was down there too. And see how that works? It's like bright, shiny thing. Lose my sense of direction and what I was talking about. But, the caveat to the puts is with options contracts, you have to be right on direction and time. Because with that Palantir one, by August 2nd, so if I still hold it, I can always sell it. But if Palantir is above $24.50 a share on August 2nd, then that expires worthless, and I just lose my $18. So, but I could have sold it. Like I said, I hate when that happens because I hadn't even had it for 24 hours, and it already went up almost 80%. And I should have sold it, but I get greedy, and that's my problem. It's good to know you're greedy. So, and we'll talk. I'm going to finish saying hello to people like Chris. I don't know if teenagers. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. My girls would kill me, but sometimes they get upset. I know my wife. Thank God bless her. Their hormones and it's all the. Why are you crying? I don't know. I'm like, boy, I never went through this as a boy, right? It's just. I guess we had different emotions as teenage boys, Craig.
Yeah, it's different. I've got 2 girls. Yeah, it's different.
I will say some of those emotions led to Kathy Ireland in this swimsuit issue of Sports Illustrated. Shout out to young teenage boys that in the 1990s. And maybe not even teenage boys, just all men, probably.
Remember she was in the movie when she played the football kicker in
Ace
Unnecessary
Ventura.
Roughness?
No, yeah, you're right. I did see that movie. Ace Ventura. No, Jim Carrey was the kicker.
Ace Ventura, yeah. No, he wasn't the kicker.
No, Ray Finkel was
Ray
the kicker.
Finkel was the kicker.
Yes.
Hey, we're supposed to be talking about stocks or movies here. Both.
Dude, it's just it's where it goes, it's where it goes. But no, we'll get back to stocks because Dresh laces out. Jim, by the way, I haven't got to yours. I was telling Craig that I had a baptism today. And, oh, man, I stuffed myself. And that's the problem. When it's 3:30 and we're starting to eat, and I haven't eaten lunch, and I got to eat dinner still, I just compensated. So I had double the food in one sitting because it was open bar, open buffet, and good stuff. But anyway, so I want to talk about Nike. You guys know I just did a video on it. And, apologies. I should have touched on more about why Nike had been down, things like China, consumer demand, people getting more cost conscious. I'd love to know your go-to because Hoka, On, and Asics are some of the competitors in the running niche, right? But they've really been taking market share from Nike in running. But overall, I mean, is an athletic global brand. Nike is just still crushing it. I mean, they're in terms of revenue, they're still double Adidas, the number 2 spot. But I think it's going to be, I'm going to give it a couple years. I'm going to be patient. I'm still betting on the brand. I still think that, footwear's not going anywhere. AI is not going to disrupt Nike and footwear. You're still going to have shoes. And I do remember with Under Armour. Under Armour was like the big new hot thing, but Nike survived that. So what are some of your thoughts? I know you used to work retail, Nike, right? So
Yeah.
just tell us like what, feel free to extrapolate. What are what's your go-to running shoe? And what do what did you do at Nike? What do you just think of the whole situation with them?
Yeah, I have a lot of experience with Nike. One, I worked there for a couple of years, many years ago. It was like my first job out of college, and just retail. But I worked, the floor, sales associate on the floor, and then I worked in the back and like customer service as well. So I dealt with like returns and stuff like that, right? And it was cool. I worked at this downtown Nike store in Toronto. We'd say Toronto, but and a lot of celebrities came there, and I dealt with the celebrities as they used like their free accounts, pretty much. Like they had accounts and they just buy like crazy. So I met a ton of celebrities. So I had a lot of fun working at Nike. Because,
name drop a few. Wait. Don't just name drop a few celebrities.
Oh my gosh. I met Ice Cube, Mike Myers, John Voight, Gregory Hines, the dancer and actor.
Yeah.
Tons of sports, players too. Like a lot of guys, a lot of Canadian, like Blue Jays players.
What about hockey? Who's
Eric Lindros is a big hockey player for those who follow.
Number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, he was something. And it was like every day there was somebody in there. And then I just missed J-Lo one day. J-Lo was there and I just missed her. And I looked out the street, and to this day I still think I saw her moving away, shaking away.
It's your claim to fame. We'll put it on your tombstone. Here lies Craig. He thinks he saw J-Lo walking away one day. Yeah. So
in my memory, I did, but I probably didn't. It was probably just somebody else.
Nice. So, sorry, I derailed you. So, you worked at Nike. So, what are your thoughts around this whole thing? I mean, is this a stock you would touch? Do you think, as I've heard that some people say this is like the beginning of the end for Nike, that it's a dying brand? Do you buy into that at all? Do you think they're still going to be around? What's your feel on this situation?
No, I think Nike's a strong brand. I think you look at things like how well they still do with, like every year they do that poll with the teens, and they're number 1 still year after year. Like who knows what happens next year, and that is so fickle. That could be so fickle, but they're always there. I don't think that's really dropping off massively. There's a lot more competitors in the running space in particular. Like I also run, and I see that. I've seen Hoka really come in and grab huge market share in the running. But I feel like there's kind of always been, with runners, always been Nike's the big guy. So they're almost happy to see like somebody new come in, because when it gets too big, they start to rest on their laurels and they want somebody to come in and push them. And I kind of think that that's the moment right now where they're being pushed. And so for the first little while, they're giving it up. But this is their chance to innovate and get back to what they were doing. And they have a lot of good people working for them. Like working there, they were a good company to work for. The people that work there, they have that. There's a good culture. Like they're bought in to being number 1, and like there's a lot of history. And there's I don't know if you've ever read the book Shoe Dog by
Phil Knight.
Really good. The guy who founded Nike, Phil Knight. Amazing book. And that culture still is ingrained in the history of the company. And I haven't been there for years, so I can't say what it's up to now, but it feels like it's still there, and it feels like this is a short-term thing. And I think even if you look at years where there was other like inflation and financial like the economy slowing down, Nike always slows down when the economy slows down, because it's pretty expensive stuff. It's not the cheapest shoe. It's not the cheapest you buy a dry fit shirt for what do they cost now, right? Like 50. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's a great point, man. Like, so they could be a leading indicator of things to come, and they're just early to the scene, so to speak.
Right.
And yeah, man, I love that. So they innovate when, like you said, I think when they put the full force of the brand of everything behind innovation, they really come up with some interesting things, and that just speaks to capitalism. Why it's such a, what did Winston Churchill say? It's the worst system. It's something like it's the best of the worst that we've tried, or something like that. I mean, nothing's perfect, but
like it's all bad, but this is the best we have.
Exactly. Yeah. I really need to get some of these quotes, nailed down before I go and throw them out there. But
and they own Converse, and like you said, like Converse, I see is very popular. With my daughter has bought like 3 or 4 pairs of Converse. Like as soon as they get dirty, she wants another pair. Like and all the kids in her school love it. We live in a nicer area, and the kids love this stuff, man. So even if Nike isn't top, there's still Converse. They've got Jordan Brand, which has got like very loyal followers, and they've got all those like those past shoes that they bring back out. So the popular Jordan brands, they can put those things back out and they sell out like that. So to me, if they wanted to, they could start producing more of those. They can bring back more shoes. They've got all these shoes in their catalog that they can bring back and just sell those like crazy. They can start to innovate again. And I don't think they've totally fallen off on the innovation. In fact, their high-end running shoes are still top of the line. Like the fastest marathoners in the world, they all wear Nike's most innovative. Like they changed the game. They made these super shoes that everybody after them started to copy. Where they fell off is for the kind of the like middle runner. So those shoes are designed for really good runners. I run a lot, and I still don't really feel comfortable in them because you almost have to have like a perfect stride, and I'm not perfect. So they miss out on a lot of the runners like me that run a lot, but we're not elite, right? So they can easily get that back. And they have some shoes that fall in that, but there's way more competition, and that's where they've really fallen off. But you also got to remember that running is only, look up this information. I'm not positive, but it's only a small percentage of their total shoe sales, where they've got basketball and they've got leisure and, all
lifestyle, women's fitness. Yep.
All that. Basketball is huge for them. Huge. And they sign athletes when they're still like in high school. So like when like somebody comes out and they're like this new hit, like kid wonder, Nike's already signed them. So they have the first crack at so many of these athletes because they have the power, they have the marketing budget to get these new folks. They can always throw the most money at like someone like Caitlin Clark, right? She just hit huge. They signed her. They haven't come out with her shoe yet, her commercials. Think of when that hits. Like she is really a phenomenal marketing machine. Like look what she's done for the WNBA. I was in a hotel the other day, and I heard young kids outside my door talking about the WNBA. I'm like,
really?
I've never heard, like boys, like talking like it was the NBA. And I'm like, I've never heard that before. Like just common, like just hearing, there's a buzz about it. And it's because of her. It's huge, right?
Yeah, and they got her. They got it. They signed Caitlin Clark. So I want to know what shoe you wear. What is your running shoe? But before that, I want to get some of these comments, get caught up. Oh, and by the way, I didn't even realize, I was telling Craig right before we went on that I guess President Biden at 8:00 is going to be addressing the nation. So I think a lot of people are going to tune in for that. So, hey, if you got it on in the background, let us know if anything interesting is said. We're not really politics here, but come on. Everybody knows what happened. You're going to, you have an opinion. A couple comments here. Janice says she wears Brooks on Cloud, never Nike. Chris says Nike's a long-term turnaround for him, just like Starbucks. I'm in that camp. I'm going to be holding both. By the way, Nike has a fantabulous balance sheet, so they have more cash on hand than long-term debt. So they got deep pockets. So they got a lot, when you just throw money at a problem. Nike has a lot of money to throw at their problem. Fast Eddie remembers Nikes in the 80s were terrible. Every pair ripped down the back. Yeah, I don't think I had many Nike. Well, we couldn't afford them. I grew up really lower middle class.
They were going through a lot of growing pains in the early days. Yeah. Like they grew so fast. Like they were changing manufacturers. Like they're the first ones who moved into China and got started using factories in China to make their shoes and that. So they went through a lot of growing pains. Yeah.
And plus the 80s is, 35, 40 years ago. So a lot can change
Yeah,
then.
yeah. They're
I
known
know
for their quality, actually. Like people dog on them, but I think they just attack them because they're the biggest one. But the
Chris,
quality is actually pretty good.
I don't have any complaints with the few Nikes I have. Hey, like I don't know, I put it away, but like in the video I showed the skates I have. I'm pushing 20 years old. They're Nike.
I'll also tell you this: as
rollerblades.
somebody working customer service, if you have any issue with the Nike shoe within 2 years, they can tell, like, and look at the tag and tell how old it is, and they'll give you a new shoe. If you have
Nice.
any problem with it, it's like something substantial, not just wear and tear, any like default or something that shouldn't happen. It's pretty amazing.
I like to hear this. Chris had been wearing Adidas and Puma and New Balance, and Nikes were on sale. He said he'd buy them again. Nice to hear. I like Smacky's Garage. I don't think I've seen you. I would know that name. I love the names, man. I love it. Picked up more SCHD. I didn't. I came close, but I didn't. It was almost $80 a share, man.
Yeah.
Fast Eddie. Yeah, I guess you are old. My wife's grandma, before she passed away, I noticed was wearing Skechers. So, you, I don't know if you're in your 80s yet, Fast Eddie, but I do have Skechers, though. Those are my yard shoes. So I don't know. Here's me,
I haven't bought any Skechers yet.
Yeah, Russ is just lurking. He's been watching the replays. Well, thanks. I don't know what this is. I hope you can tell me. Are Salomon and Obaz, are those shoes, or is Janice pulling fast?
Solomon, yeah. I know Solomon, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is that a typo or is
Smith
that
Barney.
Ophos? I have Ophos.
DGI Crab's been buying Nike. Yeah, I think it is a good one. And Chino's I think you mean China consumers, I hope. But
Chinois,
yeah,
maybe he's parle français. Les Chinois.
how are you French Canadians? I have zero francophone in me. That's the
moi,
one
je
thing.
parle français. Et vous? Oui, oui.
No sé. Yo hablo un poco español porque no entiendo francés.
Mm-hmm.
All right, or Francesca, I think it is in Spanish. I don't know, but yeah, actually, their one of the big hits was their direct to consumer. The short story of it is that when the new CEO John Donahoe came in, he really wanted to push into digital. Digital, when you go direct to consumers or DTC, like right to the Nike owned store, it's much higher margins, and that really helped them explode when COVID hit. But then everybody just wanted to go back and browse and try stuff on in the store and see how it looks on them without.
There is a huge difference to that. So I remember, like, we sold, like, to employees, like, you'd sell wholesale, and we had a code, you can tell what the wholesale price is versus the retail price. It's basically half, right? So when you sell to a store like Foot Locker, Nike's only getting half. If they sell it themselves, they're getting double the price. So imagine the margin difference, right? So
yeah, and then that's why they brought back Tom Petty out. I know, right? Tom Petty out of retirement. He was an ex-C-suite exec. That's what I was trying to say, and he's going to try and help repair some of that wholesale. Read The Longest Race by Kara Goucher.
Yeah,
I have nenever heard of that. That's an interesting one. Have you read it?
No, but I know the one. I know Kara Goucher.
Dan says, what about the kids with the Crocs,
Dude,
Mr. SCHD Stan?
People know me and my Crocs. I've been sporting Crocs like before everybody wore them. Like, and people used to say, man, those shoes are hideous. I'm like, try them on and you will not hate them. I wear them around the house, like as my house shoes, right? And they're so comfortable because I have like painful arches and nothing worked. I've tried everything. Started wearing Crocs, no problems whatsoever. So I am fully behind Crocs. I bought the stock way back in the day. I'm up like it's one of my best performing stocks. I'm up like, I don't know, like 300% on Crocs. Like,
yeah,
Crocs,
it's been a beast.
I believed in it, man. I'm like, these things are amazing. And then kids got into it and love them. And parents love buying them for their little kids, and teenagers like them. And it's a phenomenon, man. It keeps going because at the end of the day, they're super comfortable.
My 15-year-old daughter wears Crocs, and I've never tried them on. I think part of me is afraid to, because I'm afraid I'll love them. And
they have nicer ones now. I actually have like regular looking slippers, and I even bought some running shoes that look pretty cool. Actually, they're not running; they're more like just leisure. But I was just on a cruise, and I wore them on the beach and stuff because they look like shoes, but they have like small little holes in the top, like a mesh, but they're still like that light rubber material. So they dry super, so I could walk in the water in the sand, and they dried off like that. So they're awesome and they look cool.
Maybe I'll. That could be debatable. I don't know. Maybe
Look
I'll
it
wait
up.
for the.
Look up
I'll wait
Crocs
for the.
sneakers. Look up Crocs sneakers sometime. You don't have to do it now, but
Oh, I'll look at it. Remind me in a
Crocs
minute here. I
sneakers.
want to get caught up. But
They're
yeah,
sold out all the time because
do
they're
they
so
have Chuck
awesome.
Taylor Crocs yet? I mean, if Chuck Taylor makes a Croc, that might be right
Nike
up my
and
alley.
Croc combo that have to be because Nike owns Converse, right?
My 15-year-old has Crocs, and she has these. I don't know what you call them, but she has a whole thing hanging on her door of like pins. She's a
Gibbets.
big Harry Potter fan. What?
Gibbets. I think they're called gibbets.
Gibbets. Jesus,
They're the
Crocs and
accessories. They make
gibbets.
you more money off that. The accessories.
There must be about 50 of these gibbets. They're all Harry Potter, and I guess she just accessorizes her Crocs with these Harry Potter gibbets.
Yeah, they got like
Freaking gibbets. I'll bet you that's what they're called. You're probably right.
something like gibbets or giblets. Something. Yeah, gibbets, I think.
I don't know, giblets. Isn't that turkey?
That's turkey.
Yeah. He says, shoes still. What if AI helps in the future and you float 5 inches off the floor? John, that would be amazing if they can figure that out, But I don't know what that's going to help with. I mean, maybe with your ups, if you're,
Floating shoes. Another way to be more lazy. That'll work.
I love this. Jim's not a runner, but he says he can waddle at a pretty good clip. So I'm sure Nike has a shoe for you for that. Maybe like, no, not the Metcons or the Freak. Oh my God, I can't think of the name of them.
Nike Freak.
One of their lifestyle shoes. One of the guys in my office wears them. Yeah. Whiskey Tango, I remember you saying this. Nike, it's all advertising and sell the sizzle. No, they do spend a lot on advertising, and that's one of their strengths is that, they can advertise the hell out of the product. But
yeah, and just putting their stuff on athletes and celebrities, and people see them wearing it, right?
there we go. Janice, with a little more clarity, says the ultra runners wear Solomon. Courtney Hardwater just won Hardcastle 100 this weekend. Man, that is a complete world. I have I honestly, if you told me name, my life depended on it. Name one marathon runner. Michael Johnson is the only name I could do. Him and but he's a sprinter, right?
He's a
and then
sprinter.
the fast guy. Who is
200 meters.
Oh man, what is that guy?
200.
The super fast guy.
Bolt from Jamaica.
Yeah, Usain Bolt. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are the only two. I know, I had to think, but.
You don't remember?
Yeah.
You remember Carl Lewis? You remember Carl?
Oh, I do remember Carl Lewis. I remember him. Yeah.
What about Ben Johnson?
Yep,
No Ben
I remember
Johnson?
Ben Johnson.
See?
But you had to remind me. I couldn't think of them, Yeah, okay. So you're saying what? Okay, so I'm guessing. I don't know where my time is here. It's 8:30. Yeah, we'll do dividend news here in a couple minutes too. There's only a few things. Nike had a law enforcement liaison by the name of Herb Hedges. What? You could show him a photo of a sole pattern, and within the hour, he knew what model Nike was and how many. Within the hour, I was thinking within the minute he should be able to do that. But that's pretty crazy. Herb Hedges sounds made up.
They had some cool guys in that book. They talk about these guys that are just like their shoe. They call them shoe dogs. Guys who know shoes inside and out, like how to make them, and their life is about like the shoe theory and like this is the people that Nike hired in the beginning to create their shoes and like market them and stuff. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, Mark Palmer, I think the former CEO. He was since 1979. He used to be a shoe designer. I think that's part of the problem. They're just, I think they need to go back to that. And John Donahoe, from what I know about the company, I think he's more of a tech guy, and I'd love to see, like you said, just a shoe dog in there, just somebody that is a lot more, finger on the pulse of the industry, has a good history with it and whatnot. But Kevin Burgess, what's up, man? Have you been on Kevin's show, Craig?
No, I watch it. I haven't been on. Great guy.
Kevin.
My favorite Kevin on YouTube.
Send an invite, Kevin. He'll go on, but he sold IBM. Kevin, I'll try and listen tomorrow night. So my daughter, the young one, has bowling on Monday nights, and it's funny. I try to get work done. I'm doing a little researching, watching her bowl. It's bowling's kind of nice because she just does her little thing, then sits down for a bit, does her little thing. So I know it sounds bad, do the little thing, but yeah, Kevin, Monday nights I'll put your stream on when I can from my phone, but. Sold IBM. Why did you sell it? I know from my experience, I sold IBM, and of course AI happened, and then they shot up. But uh, it was adjusted free cash flow. I had trouble understanding that. I tried to. I didn't like it, so I just moved on. And you were right. Here you go. Dan has 6 pairs and many gibbets. There you go. Call him Dan the gibbets dude. The holes in the Crocs shoes allow your dignity to escape. Oh, Jim. Jim. What can I do with you? What do you wear sweatpants and Crocs is what the world wants to know, Craig.
Absolutely. Man, social ridicule does not bother me at all.
Do you know what? That's freaking awesome you say that. I've been trying to tell my daughter about that. I wish when I was in high school I could have got over that. It's always, worrying what people are going to think.
I learned early on. I was already different, so I was like, I might as well lean in. I don't care.
Beautiful. Yeah, and that's the thing. The older we get, I think that's why so many old people, they go one of two directions. They, you see like the bitter old people. And Jim, I hope I'm not talking about you, but you see some old people, you got a few years left. And it's just like, I'm done trying to impress people. I don't care anymore. And and it's like you either become like cynical and just down on the world and treat everyone like crap, or you become like my wife's grandfather was, where it's just like every day was just like a party. He was just always want to make people laugh, and it's just like, let's have fun. He'd be a goof. I don't care what anyone thinks of me because I'm gonna be dead soon, and it's if only young people, I could instill that into like, my daughters. But, DGI Crab, I think you're right. They should. And that's why we say that, Warren Buffett's big on saying that shareholder value can be destroyed when businesses buy back at any price. That's akin to you wanting to buy a business and just not even thinking about any kind of valuation and saying like, just name a price, I'll buy the business. So bad things can happen. But yeah, they should be.
I think they have a share buyback already approved.
They do. I don't remember the number, but I don't know if I'm thinking of Starbucks or Nike's. I'm sure we could look it up.
Yeah, I think it's in the billions.
Fast Eddie talking about the former Bears. The former Bears coach, Dave Waddle. I don't remember much about Dave Waddle, but he wasn't that, we all liked his mustache. If you're in Chicago and you're going to be a coach of the Bears, you got to have a good mustache. Come on, get out of here. It's funny. Sometimes when I overdo the Chicago accent, I think I'm not doing it right. But
I think he might be talking about possibly Dave Waddell from Nike.
Oh,
I think possibly.
Here's me. Shows what I know. Cheers, everybody. He's talking about Dave Waddell. Yeah.
He was one of the original employees of Nike, and the spirit of Nike. Like, he was awesome. Just like push, and was always trying to. He was met with store owners and just a force. Like, always out there, and he'd argue nonstop with the founder. But they still they were just friends.
I remember that.
They were really tight. I think that was his name. I don't know if it was Waddell. I know when people try to spell stuff on the chat, sometimes the spelling errors come through. But I think it was
good thing we don't have any football fans on here, because as you were talking, my brain just kind of did a Google search and realized that no, it wasn't Dave Waddle. So the Bears had a receiver back in the late 80s, early 90s named Tom Waddle. But the Bears had a head coach, Dave Wannstedt.
Yeah. I'm he used to coach the Dolphins too, right?
Yeah, so Dave Wannstedt, yeah. So, hey, this is what happens when it's a Sunday night. This guy overeats and still probably has a lot of blood down in my stomach trying to figure things out and move things through. But, so fast that he said Dave Waddle. Okay, a runner. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm flipping back. They were made on a waffle iron. And as I was doing research for Nike, they actually unearthed, and of course his name slips me, the Oregon coach, that he was the coach of Phil Knight.
Bowerman.
Yeah, Bowerman. So they have, and it's called the Bowerman Research Lab and Design Lab.
Yeah, he was the co-founder of the company, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, he actually used a waffle iron to make the first soles, and they actually found it, and now it's part of Nike's lore. I think they have it in their little museum area or something.
Yeah.
So Jim says he's a bitter old person. He's nailing it. Jim, you make me laugh all the time. You can't fool us. And I'm assuming that's a little AI thing in there. Hey, Lisa, thank you for hitting the like. Oh, we got to do news. Okay, we're going to do news. So I thank you for that, Lisa. And you're always on the worst time for me. Like, I'm doing stuff or I'm out and I see you're going live. So I'll jump in one eventually. You go live a lot, which I like. And then I'm going to do after this, I'm going to do, Steve Prefontaine.
Yeah, he's
Didn't
awesome.
he die? Didn't he die early?
Yeah, he died young, like in between like Olympic appearances. Like he was a monster of a runner. Like this little guy who just went all out. Like he had a stocky body type running against all these lanky long distance runners, and he would just go balls out on every run. And coaches always told him, pace yourself and take it easy. And then he did, and he ended up coming in fourth at the Olympics because he tried to pace himself. And then he went balls out at the end. And when he realized that if he had gone balls out in his usual run, his time that he could normally run, he would have won. And so he's just like, F it, I'm never doing that again. And then he died before he could, like a year before the Montreal Olympics, which would have been his chance to do it again. It's really
That's
sad.
right. That's right. I'm going to have to read that again. And by the way, I read the audiobook of probably about 3 or 4 years ago of Shoe Dog. I read that. Just a really, really good book. And I think I will read that again.
There's a few movies about Prefontaine's life too. I've watched a bunch of them. I can't remember which is which, but check those out. Like they're all streaming somewhere free. Like they're good.
I'll put them in the queue, man. I still got to get to the Last Dragon. So
yes, sir. That's all that stuff behind me.
I know. You got your little Last Dragon shrine. All right, I'm gonna do a bit of news here for you guys. Steve thinks the movie is just called Pre. Oh, yeah, that's what they called him, right? Was Pre.
Yeah, there's one Without Limits and Pre. Yeah, there's two.
All right, so I think I will put us on the. I'll do the cinema layout for it. You don't need to see as well. I'll give more real estate to the viewer right here, as we do a little bit of really quick dividend news. And yeah, we were just talking about Royal Caribbean because Craig was on a RCL cruise.
Just came back today or yesterday.
Set up here. What was Monday? Monday was the
last Monday.
I think the 8th or something. Going back. Yeah, we'll start here. I usually have this set up, but
it was the 8th.
Yeah, so here we go. So this is on Simply Safe Dividends if you're watching, and just tuning in a couple of news bits that they do. They downgraded Walgreens' dividend from 30 unsafe to 20 very unsafe, and they had just cut it 48% in January of 24, so I don't like that. Wendy's is also seeing their margin of safety narrow. They downgraded their dividend safety from 50 to 40. And yeah, they're seeing headwinds too. And they think that because people are dialing back on their food purchases, their fast food, that McDonald's probably can withstand this better than Wendy's. So caution if you're into Wendy's. Cummins, by the way, ticker CMI. They raised their dividend 8.3%. That's their 15th consecutive year. Stepan, which is headquartered in Northbrook or somewhere up North Lake, maybe Illinois here by me. They downgraded them from 99 very safe to 80 safe. They are a dividend king, but they have super slow dividend growths. So yeah, they refreshed an outlook on AbbVie, which just means that they have their own little blurb that they it's not like a stock. What this business does, they actually give their own take on AbbVie, so they refresh that. EPD, this is one we got. This raised our dividend annual patty by $7. They raised their dividend or their distribution 1.9%, which is their 25th straight year. And I don't know if they are a member of the S&P 500, because if they are, then they will be a dividend king. But yeah, solid. I'd like to buy more of them. They don't seem to come down. They reaffirmed their safety score on Comcast, 89 very safe. And a couple more here. MSC, ticker MSM, they reaffirmed their safety score of 84. And that's weird. Trading Companies says they're a leading North American distributor of metalworking and MRO, maintenance repair operations. Interesting. I've never really looked into them, but I think they're on my watch list. And they refreshed their outlook on, what is this, BTI? And then lastly, Schmucker raised their dividend token 1.9%. So that's their 23rd straight year of dividend growth. And with that, now we got through some of that dividend stuff. Do you own any of those, Craig, outright?
EPD as well. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, same here. And yeah, so Jim, you are a wonderful wealth of useless trivia. It sounds like some of the games that we play with my sister-in-law yesterday and everybody. Man, we played this one game called Hitster. I really dug it. You break into teams, and they have like a stack of cards, and on every card is a QR code on the back. So you hook your phone to, a Bluetooth speaker or whatever, and you scan it, and it'll start playing a song. And your team has to guess the year that the song came out, and you have to put it before or after the last. So you start with a year, like 1972, and then there'll be like an ABBA song, or "In the Air Tonight" by Genesis or Phil Collins. He did that, or was it Genesis? No, it was Phil Collins. I don't know why I'm making this difficult on myself, but anyway, so you'd have to put that before or after that year, and then as you start getting more cards, you have to get. Anyway, it's pretty fun. It's
That's
pretty
good
cool
because you don't have to know the answer. You just kind of have to have a feeling. Well, that one came out before that, and so you don't have to know the exact answer, right?
Yeah. So I remember on one of them, nobody knew, but I was like, "Oh, I remember this song. It came out when I was a senior in high school."
Right.
So
Exactly.
I knew the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, if anybody's looking, it's called, I think, Hitster or something like that. Really cool game, and it was fun because we had the youngest person there was my niece. She is going to be a freshman in high school. And then the oldest was my mother and father-in-law, which they're both pushing 70. So it was really interesting, especially when there was songs from the 60s and 70s and 50s. And so it was kind of a really fun game to play. So
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, John looked up Nike from 85 to 08. Stock price was steady, almost the same. It's only been since 2015, he says, since it shot up higher. How do you explain? I don't know. The market, more people buying it, super low interest rates. So interest rates to stocks are like gravity. When interest rates are low, it means the cost of capital, borrowing money is cheap, and businesses can do all kinds of riskier things with it. So it really does affect the stock price in the stock market because they're businesses. So yeah, I think it's just that ZERP, right? What did we have ZERP from? What did John even say? Yeah, to 08, right? So that's when the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis. And then after that, we just had zero interest rates for many, many years, which started the longest bull run in history. So that's probably a big part of it. Pike Peace in 2021, and that's when people started to come back. So I don't know, John. That would be my take on it. I don't know if you kind of feel the same, but that's and all those years, like you put there, 85 to 08. Well, you had 87, you had the big crash in there, but yeah, it was a shoe company too. I mean, it just wasn't a hot stock. I mean, now I don't know, maybe you didn't have as many people YOLOing, you didn't have Robinhood. Robinhood certainly helped things. The advent of just being able to buy fractional shares. There used to never be that. Hey, I want to buy $5 of a share and pay no trading commission. It was like, what? That didn't happen. So I don't know, all those things. If anybody watched, hey, if you got any questions too, let us know. But yeah, Darth, what's up, man? Did you come back from the press conference? How was it? I don't know. I don't want to get politics though.
I left the Matrix. Thank you. And I'm best ETF. I'm not sure what he means by the Matrix, but sure.
Unless you froze up. I don't know, Darth. There's some
hidden
about
code.
Him. Yeah, having too many White Claws, maybe, buddy. I don't know. But
he did call me one of the best ETF dividend investors. Thank you so much. Not true, but thank you.
Yeah. So, what are you still doing with your ETFs? You still buying SCHD?
Yeah, I haven't bought it again. I still haven't, I loaded up SCHD so much when it was down like 70 and under that I haven't bought any new in a long time. Because I've built up a good solid position, and that anchoring to a price is still real.
Oh
And
God.
I've looked at it. I'm like, even if I added like 100 shares, like I'd be like just budging it up because I have over 1,500 shares. So adding more is not moving my price average, my cost average that much. But I like to buy it when it's 75, 74 or under. I've slowly started to creep that up because things are getting better as interest rates come down. If they come down, when, as it seems like it's going to start to be a real thing, you can see anytime there's even an inkling that interest rates are going to come down, stocks like SCHD, most of the dividend growth stocks, the REITs, you can see them all just pop. And it gives you, like, to me, it's a clue of what we're going to get in the future. So it wouldn't be a bad thing to buy more, like to raise my kind of target price, right? But so I've gone kind of from like 73 to like 75 something now. So, maybe at one point I'll just say, hey, it's time to do it on a good dip. But one of the big things I do is I just look at what's a pullback from, like, where are we at? Like, are we at an 8? When I look for like an 8% or more pullback for SCHD from its 52-week high. Otherwise, I'm not really buying. And so that number will change though. So that if that 52-week high gets higher, then my target will get higher to kind of move with it. But we haven't got there yet. And so what I have been buying is more like DGRO, DGRO, and FDVV is one I really like, the Fidelity ETF. It's kind of Fidelity's version of SCHD. And it's really cool because it's got a nice mix of growth plus pays like near a 3, was over 3 when I started buying it, a 3% yield, and now it's just under 3. But it's got Broadcom, Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia in there. But then it's got your typical dividend stocks like Chevron and Procter and Gamble. I think it's got like Pepsi or Coke in there too. Like Pepsi's in there. Like a lot of your typical dividend growth stocks that are in SCHD and other dividend ones. So it's
really FDVV.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It can grow a ton if this kind of tech market continues to grow. And then when it slows down, I looked at its lows when in 22, when the market came down, it was not hit that hard. So it's kind of a nice, it's what I look for. I look for these funds that can really grow well in good times and not get killed in bad times. And one of those reasons is because I'm in this stage of life. I've done well, and I want to hold on to what I have, not always just, exponential growth all the time. I want the growth, but I don't want to lose it every couple of years when the market gets hit, right?
So here is FDVV. Oh, look at this. And you got one of their analysts saying sell. So different is not always better. Well, we won't get into what Mr. Ricardo Fernandez said.
It's all fair. It's all fair.
Yeah. But you got some buys there, a couple buys to hold. But I wanted to see what, so their expense ratio, interesting. I mean, 0.15, that's not crazy with SCHD at 0.06. And let's see, that's they pay the dividend quarterly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Let me see their top holdings here.
Their methodology is to basically target like companies that pay a sustained and growing dividend. So they look at dividend yield, dividend growth, and dividend sustainability. So they actually look at payout ratio too. So it's got a nice methodology.
I like that. So let's see. Tech is the highest. 27.
Yeah, and it's pretty good chunk. See that? Like for a dividend growth fund, like that's a lot, 27%. So you're gonna, like, if this tech thing continues to go for longer, you're gonna capture that more than you are with an SCHD. So
yeah, they're top 10. There we go. Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Broadcom. Yeah, I'd have to look into it. Because the only thing is I have so much with my ETFs exposure to the Nvidia, Microsoft, right, Apple, Broadcom. So I'd have to, that's something.
I kind of look at it as like, I love like SPY. I love the S&P 500. Mm-hmm. So, but I always get a little worried that it's, it could be overvalued, right? And so I'm buying it all. Like, that being said, in 401k, I'm buying it every 2 weeks, no matter what, right? So that's happening all the time. So that's kind of, take everything I say with that caveat that I'm buying all the time. With the stuff I'm doing my own, I'm supplementing it. I like the idea of still buying something that's kind of like the S&P, but has a higher dividend, more dividend growth, and will not drop as much in bad times. And SCHD does that, and FDVV does it with more growth potential, like a higher growth potential. So not as much downside protection that SCHD has. So I feel it's a good combination. That, along with like a DGRO, is similar to that. But it pays.
You know what you own. You know what you own and why you own it, and that's half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Darth, I just poking fun. I don't even know what there's a White Claw thing with Darth, and I don't remember he doesn't like White Claw, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, he's always making bets that he'll drink it if
Jim's sharing a nice little dad joke saying, what's the preferred pronouns for candy bars? Her, she. Cliff says SCHD, a low of the year 75. That sounds about. I was just on it. I don't remember. It was somewhere around there, but
for the year, I think it's lower than that. I guess
you might. Yeah, I think you're right.
Year to date, maybe.
Fast Eddie wants to know, what's the stock market going to do tomorrow? I don't know. Probably not a whole lot. I think actually, like after JFK was assassinated, that the market rebounded relatively quickly, and if it wasn't, I think it might have even been up.
I think you know what? I bet you this is one of those things that people like will, have some resolve in the American market, and it'd probably go up. Like, I bet you it does.
I don't know. We'll see. I hate predicting what the market's going to do in the short term, because in the long term, I know it's going to go up and to the right, and it's a lot of that. There you go. More about you. What individual stocks are? Wait, what about individual stocks are when the SCHD Stan? I don't know what that means. What does he mean by that?
Like what individual stocks would you choose out of that SCHD holds?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's Texas Instruments. There's ones that are like, I like USB, the bank.
Yep. US Bank. Yeah.
I've been buying that, because I bought in the financial crisis, and then it dipped down a little again, and I bought some more of it. And again, when we got a little hint that interest rates are going to start coming down, it was one of the ones that really popped. It gives you that clue that when interest rates do eventually come down, these stocks should do well, because it's almost too big to fail, but it's still a regional. So it's getting punished as a regional, but it's like the biggest regional. So it really doesn't have this. I mean, there's always risk in banks, but I don't feel it has the same kind of risk that some of these more like smaller regional banks have. It's probably it still is too big to fail, I would imagine. So
I'd be more worried about the regional banks. I don't know. I've tried to understand banks. My only bank that I hold is Toronto Dominion, ticker TD. And it's just, from everything I read, they're more conservative banks. So, and then of course they get hit with this hubbub about the money laundering for drug money laundering. I'm like, of course.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's a great long-term opportunity, though. Like, no Canadian bank is going away. Like, these big banks, they're not going anywhere. And they're all over. Not all. They're in many other countries as well. Like, that's a solid buying opportunity. Like, any trouble there, it may take a while, but it'll come around, and it's going to pay you a nice dividend while you wait for it to come back. So, yeah, I think you're all right.
Oh, boy. I think we got – so I see what's going on here now. I think Darth and Chris are going at it. They're jabbing. They got the gloves laced up. But, yeah, Darth's going in automatic data processing, which I believe is inside of SCHD, I think. I could be wrong on that.
It might have
Maybe it's not.
It might have come out.
Yeah, I think it might have been at once. I could be wrong there. Let's see. Oh, okay, I see. So Darth was saying that SPY expense ratio sucks. Chris said, try and recap this. He said, you need to recalibrate. And then,
well, what I'll say about SPY's expense ratio, they're just going back and forth about it.
Yeah, I would go VOO, honestly.
Yeah, the benefit to SPY is if you get 100 shares, it's the covered call potential is way higher. You can get way higher premiums if you want to have 100 shares or more and sell covered calls. Like, you can make, I looked into that, you can make, I think, like $20, $30 a day if you're to sell like the next day covered call kind of thing. You're not going to always do that, but even if
Yeah,
you're,
but-
and I was looking way out of the money, you could make like $20 a day, say, on shares of SPY, sell and cover call. That's why the
Yeah.
expense ratio is so high, because there's so much liquidity. So it's
So
worth paying.
VOO is not optionable then?
No, you can, but it doesn't have the same liquidity
The
as
liquidity, got it.
SPY is the
Okay.
biggest of all the S&P 500. So it
Gotcha.
has the highest premiums available. So VOOs are still premium, but it's not as good as SPY.
I just saw Clifford say USP reports on Wednesday, and I forgot I wanted to share this. So on Seeking Alpha, they always have this every Saturday. They put out. Why is this guy still up? You can listen to articles now on Seeking Alpha, which is
Oh,
pretty
you can?
nice.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what
nice.
that was. So
Oh, sweet. I've been asking for that. Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah, see right here where it says
Yes!
play. So any of their articles, you can hit play. The AI, the voice is a little, but you can speed it up. But
Russ, I'm about to
anyway.
get so much smarter. I don't have time to read, but I can listen.
Same here, right? So I was actually listening to that one on Nike to see what he was saying.
Beautiful.
But so earnings tomorrow, we got Goldman Sachs and BlackRock. Tuesday is United Health, Bank of America. Didn't want to do that. Morgan Stanley. So yeah, more of the banks. U.S. Bank, J&J on Wednesday. So I will be interested to see what happens there. Ally Financial on Wednesday. Thursday got Netflix. That'll be a big one. Abbott Laboratories, Domino's. TSM, and then Friday American Express and Travelers. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting nice little thing to see what's coming up in the week ahead. And yeah, so those of you that don't know, on Seeking Alpha, you can listen to articles. So it will be
That's
one
great.
heck of a thing. I'm still trying to get in the swing of it, because I drive around so much, so it'll be really nice for me. So. As we land the plane, man, what do you got going on then? What are you doing? Your shoe, for Christ's sake! What's your shoe? What's your running shoe
Oh,
that
yeah.
you go to right now?
Well, I used to always wear Nikes, and
What
I
kind?
actually tried, but I tried a different shoe, and I loved it. I love Saucony, which is a little known brand, but it's very popular with runners. They make
What
some
was
really nice
what
shoes.
was the Nike Pegasus, or what did you wear? Vaporware?
I ran in. The names are so long and confusing. Maybe that's part of the problem. I had this. I even ran in there like kind of the free version is like a barefoot running kind of like it's like a pseudo barefoot, not quite full on barefoot, which actually helped me a lot. It builds up the strength in your feet. So remember I was telling you I have foot problems, and it actually helped. I ran a half marathon in like this kind of like almost barefoot shoe, but I trained in them all the time, and I did that when I first started really running, and it helped me a lot. So, but now I've moved to the more cushion stuff, and yeah, I've tried a lot of different Nikes over the years. The Pegasus is a really good one.
Nice.
But yeah, now I really like the Sauconys. These Sauconys, like they have this technology in them that really like it makes you roll onto your toes, and it's got nice cushioning. They're super light, and you just like spring. It's awesome. So they've taken like what Nike's done and made it more for like the common folk, and I think they're one of the best at doing that. So I think Nike's got to take back some of that, right? Like we were talking about, like make some more shoes for the middle grounds more than just the high end and then kind of like low end. They're missing the middle.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I know that from what I was reading, they got the Pegasus 41s. That's the 41st version of the Pegasus. And
Yeah,
the
it's well loved.
I think
It's like people love that shoe. It's a classic, and they always make sure the price. They almost keep the price down on that. It's almost like the Costco hot dog. Like it goes up, but they put a lot into it, and then tend to keep the price like try to keep it like on the lower end, like closer to 100. I mean, with inflation, that's gone up a lot. I think you can still get a nice pair of running shoes like that for like $120 or something like that. And then if you get last year's pair when the new one comes out, then you can start getting a good deal on it, right? So Pegasus, they're good shoes.
I'm going to end with this one with Kevin saying I love this. Kevin, he just casually picked up 70 shares. Now he's up to 970 shares of USB. Want to buy more, but it was running up too fast. I love it, Kevin. I really enjoy. Oh, I got to shout out this guy. Some saying SCHD is too conservative and we're collecting gold bars. Nah, never. It's still equities, man. I understand it. Everybody's now, we're all in the mindset. Everybody wants just stuff to just blow up and just rocket ship up. And, hey, I've been holding this thing a week. Why isn't it up 60%? And people are like, garbage, you know? Like,
like I love what Ari says all the time, right? Everybody wants to get rich by Tuesday. Like, nah,
Yeah.
man, this is long term. Like everything goes through cycles. Like, and it's doing just fine. Like when people were telling us like we're buying like 70 and under, and people saying, oh, you can get 5% on cash and on a bond and whatever, whatever it was, money market.
Yeah.
Well, now we're up, 10, 12% since then, plus the 3.5% dividend as well. Cause they're like, oh, you're getting this 3% or whatever. Like, yeah, well now it's 15 when you add that together. So a lot of good year 5 is doing that.
Right.
I get it. I get where that comes from. The safe, like if you're in that spot in life where you want complete safe, fine. But if you've still got 10 plus years of investing time, like there's no point in taking that 5%, like unless it's something temporary, unless you need that money in the next year to buy a house or something like that, right?
Right. Patience, whatever. I think someday fundamentals will matter, and But anyway, Citizen of the Year. If you guys are still watching, he's I guess he's in parts nearby me. He's an anonymous anonymous channel, and I did get to meet Cody over at the NASCAR street race in Chicago, which
nice. I've listened to his channel. He's got a YouTube channel, right? I've listened to that.
Yep. I've now verified that 2 YouTubers are indeed real people and not AI.
Nice.
That'd be Cody and Mr. Ryan Williams. So I met them in the person, and unless they're like fembots or Terminators or something like that, then could have fooled me. So. Good to see you, but yeah, it's time, man. So I thank you again, man, for jumping on. And
thank you.
It's always fun to just hang out and shoot it for a little bit, hear some of your thoughts. So I like your thoughts on Nike. I love it. He said if you're here, Craig pretty much said it's good because this is going to push Nike. Competition, losing a little bit of market share. Maybe they feel they got a little complacent. Now it's time to kick it back into high gear and see what they can do. So I think it'll be fun to watch. And I'm going to be DCAing in the 70s and hopefully even the 60s. I won't be disappointed. I'll buy some there too. So
good stuff.
All right. Yeah. Follow you. There you go. Look at his name. SCHD ETF on X. And, he's on there every day, so he'll talk to you if you want to talk to him. And
yeah, man. Always
any parting
positive.
Words? Anything
always
you want to say?
Always keeping it positive, man. Sometimes people get into politics a little too much. I avoid that stuff, and I just keep it positive and but honest, positive, realistic. But life is too short to be upset all the time and focus on the negative. So keep it real, but keep it positive.
Couldn't say it any better. So as usual, to end another dividend communion weekend, I would say weekly weekend dividend communion. Pee Wee always takes me out. So Craig, until next time, thank you, and everybody, thank you for watching, and
thanks, Russ.
Hope to see you again next time.